Hello to you, geometry students. This is Mr. Heron, and we're going to continue with 6-4 and just spend a little bit of time kind of taking on the concept that we worked on in the first part and just kind of go one step further with it. And what we're going to do is we're going to solve entire triangles. So make sure that you've got your calculator and make sure that it is in degree mode. And let's kind of look at what am I doing with this. So quick review, SOHCAHTOA. You know that as sine, cosine, tangent. Remember that is entirely based on your angle and then your side relationship. So if I've got a right angle and I'm looking at this angle right here, this would be my opposite, this would be my adjacent, and this will be my hypotenuse. Okay, so those are my three sides from this angle. That would change if it is from this angle. Okay, from this angle, now this is opposite, this is adjacent, and hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. So nothing changes there. So it's based on the angle you're working with and the sides that you have. So what we're doing here is, well, first off, we're going to take a moment and look at just A. So we're just considering this angle right here, okay, this area right here. The sine of A will be opposite over adjacent. Cosine A will be 16 over 20. And the tangent of A will be 12 over 16. Okay, so remember, sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine will be adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent will be opposite over adjacent. Okay, nothing there changes, so to speak. So now we take it one step further and we consider that we're trying to solve the entire triangle. And when I say solve the triangle, that means figure out everything. Okay, so here I want to figure out BC, but I want to kind of expand that. So I know this is 90. I know this is 64. They want to know this one. Okay, so from here, that's opposite. This would be adjacent. Opposite and adjacent tells me I'm going to use tan. And I'm looking for BC, so that's my x over 13. So then it's just a quick matter of some algebra steps. Times 13, and I get that to be 26.65, and that's my third side, or that's my side. Now, I can keep going with this, okay? I can keep expanding. I can figure out angle C. Okay, it would not take me very much. I know that this is 90. I know that this is 64. I know all triangles have to add up to 180 degrees. So a couple of quick subtractions would get me 26. So that means this is going to be 26 degrees. Okay, 26 degrees. Now, I know that this side is 26.65. This side they told me is 13. I could figure out this side a couple of different ways. I could absolutely take cosine of 64. And that would be 13 over my hypotenuse. Okay, I could also do Pythagorean theorem. And that would also give me my hypotenuse. So just by using the simple fact that triangles have to add up to 180 and Pythagorean theorem and right triangle trigonometry, that is enough to help me figure out all three sides and all three angles of a triangle. That's all I need. So if we consider this, so from 47 degrees, this would be my adjacent side. This would be my opposite side. Okay, so So this would be tangent again, tangent of 47 equals 19 over x. So now, remember all that really happens here. Algebraically, multiply both sides by x. That cancels out. So then if you divide both sides by tangent of 47, okay, x equals 19 over the tangent of 47, okay? So that's going to give me 17.72 meters. So now, and again, I can expand that. This third angle here should be 180 minus 90 minus 47. Or I could just say, you know what? I know 180 minus 90 is always 90, so I'm going to take 90 minus 47. So there I should get 43. That's going to be 43 degrees. And then, again, I can arrive at my hypotenuse a number of different ways. I could simply take, okay, the sine of 47 is 19 over my hypotenuse. And I could solve it very, very similar to the way I solved this one to figure out this side. It follows most of the same steps. You just have to use some different numbers. But I could do that too. Or, once again, I could definitely use Pythagorean theorem if I was there as well. So doing that quickly, remember, all that really happens is these two switch places. So my hypotenuse is going to be 19 divided by the sine of 47. So that will be 25.98. And that would track. That makes sense. Jump the gun here. So here, again, I know I'm trying to find x, but I'm also trying to find the remaining measurements. Okay, so I know that this is 22. I'm looking for this. Okay, based on what I know, 90 minus 61 is going to be here. So that's going to be 29 degrees. Now I can use whatever angle I want, and that will tell me which trig function I need to use. So if I look at 61 degrees, okay, from 61, that is my opposite. Okay, this is my hypotenuse. So opposite hypotenuse tells me I want sine. So my sine of 61 will be equal to 22 over x. So all that happens, so x times sine of 61 equals 22, divide by sine of 61. So x equals 22 over the sine of 61. A little bit of calculator mashing gets me 25.15. And then because I know this side, I could figure out the third side without too much difficulty. I might take, I could take the tangent of 61. I could take the tangent of 29 and call this, we'll just call this y. And that would be y over 22. Okay, because from this angle, that's my opposite. That's my adjacent. So the tangent of 29 times 22 will give me it's 12.19. So that's what that is. So now I've got all three angles, I've got all three sides. That triangle is solved. Okay. So now working backwards, you want to use sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse. And I'll show you how can we work that. So for here, figuring out the measure of angle A, So we're looking for this angle here. So from here, that is opposite, that is hypotenuse. That means I want to use sine, okay? So I take the sine of A, which I don't know, but I know that it is 18 over 27. Okay, that's the ratio that it's going to follow. Okay, so now how do I solve for it? Well, I do kind of the opposite of sine. Okay, so sine inverse and sine cancel out. I'm left with just A, which is what I want. Sine inverse, and be careful how you put this in your calculator. Sine inverse of 18 over 27 is 41.81 degrees. That's it. 41.81 degrees. Now some of you may have noticed that 18 over 27, I can simplify that. That simplifies out to be 2/3. And the good news is if I take sine inverse of 2/3, I'm going to get the same answer. I'm going to get this 41.81. It's the same thing, even if I simplify it, okay, because it's the same ratio. 2 over 3 is equivalent to 18 over 27. Okay, now, if we take a look at number 6, you're trying to figure out angle T down here. Okay, so the 8 would be the opposite and the 12 would be the adjacent. So that tells me I want to take the tangent of T, and that's going to be equal to 8 over 12. So now I take the tangent inverse of both sides. So T equals tangent inverse of 8 over 12. So that's going to be 33.69 degrees. That's my answer. And much like we were doing before, I could figure out the remaining, I could figure out the remaining angle. I could figure out R pretty easily, okay? I would just take 90 minus that. That would give me R. I could figure out this TR, my hypotenuse. I could just do that with Pythagorean theorem. That would give me that answer. And I would have the entire triangle solved there. So be aware that you can figure out the whole triangle with just a few simple steps. Okay, so here, find all missing parts of the triangle. So I'm given two sides. So right away, if I'm given two sides, I want to figure out the third. So this would be my hypotenuse for sure. So I would go 5 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared. So that's 25. That's 169. So b squared will equal 144 square root. B would equal 12, so that makes this 12. Okay, so far so good. All we did was Pythagorean theorem, stuff you've been looking at for a while now. So now I need to figure out an angle, and I can figure out whichever one you want, F or G, whichever you like better. I'm going to figure out F. So I like sine. I'll take the sine of F, and from F, 5 is my opposite, 13 is my hypotenuse. Okay, so that's my opposite, that's my hypotenuse, and I can go from there. So then I'm going to use inverse. So that's going to go away. F is going to be equal to the inverse of 5 over 13. So that's going to give me 22.61, or 22.62 degrees. Okay, so that's how big F is. To figure out G, all I'm going to do is take 90 minus 22.62. Why do I take 90? Well, I know that a triangle has to add up to 180 degrees, and I know that that is already 90 degrees. So that takes away half my total before I even do anything. All right, so I've only got 90 degrees left to split between here and here. So that's why I know it's got to be 90 degrees. So simple calculation, my answer is going to be 67 degrees and 67.38 degrees. Okay. All right, so play around with this. This does take a little bit of paying attention to detail. So be very, very careful, and also be very, very careful which trig function you're using. Make sure that you're matching up the parts correctly. All right, I look forward to your questions. Thank you.